Should I open new accounts, such as credit cards, in my name before I file for divorce?
I think it's a good idea. You're not necessarily required to do it, but the problem is, especially whether you're talking credit cards or bank accounts, once you file for divorce, you want everything to be considered your post-commencement debt and your post-commencement assets. So then the problem is, let's say you had a checking account or a savings account or a credit card account during the marriage, even if just your name was on the account, then you file for divorce and you want all that debt and all those assets to be considered quote unquote yours. Well, under New York state law, it really is. But here's a lesson I had from a recent case. Now, I think it's extremely unlikely that the party is going to succeed on the following argument. But in my mind, why even open that door a crack to give them a potential argument? Here's what the issue was. So my client had a bank account. She deposited her job income and business income into this account. They filed for divorce. Divorce case dragged out years. And at some point, she was like, an opportunity came along to buy a second house, like an investment house. So she took money out of her bank account and she put it as a down payment on that house. Now, clearly, the title to that house passed to her years after the filing of the divorce case. But now the husband's attorney, opposing counsel, is trying to argue that, well, that was a quote unquote marital account. So we can no longer determine from that bank account whether she took marital funds and put it towards the down payment or whether she took quote unquote separate or post-commencement dollars out of that bank account and put it towards the down payment. Now, again, it should be emphasized, I think that agreement or that assertion rather is fundamentally flawed because the statute is crystal clear and it freezes in place whatever assets were in place as of the time of the filing of the divorce case. So it's easy math to determine what's there. You look at the statement. If she had $10,000 there, the $10,000 is marital funds. But I usually tell people, especially if they think things are going to get ugly or whatever, it makes sense to redirect your job salary, your paycheck, etc., into a separate account. Set up a brand new account, put it in there. That way you are very confident that funds are not going to be quote unquote commingled. And especially if you have joint accounts, and this includes joint debt, you do not want the other side to access quote unquote your money, which would be post-commencement money. And you also don't want the other side to start running up debt that's ostensibly going to be in your name. So it makes a world of sense to start setting up separate accounts in your name that are quote unquote post-commencement debts and bank accounts.